Are you all fine, boys? Last class I discussed about expenses. Okay? Expenses denotes the amount which is paid forever, and after having anything which we pay known as expense. After having anything which we pay known as expense. Okay? First transaction, cash brought in 90,000. First transaction, cash brought in 90,000 and goods brought in 9,500 as capital. In this transaction, which one is expense, boys? 9,500. The goods we brought in business known as expense. Next, sales, cash sales 2,300 and sales by check 4,000. Is it an expense? Is it an expense, boys? Sales is an income. So, can you tell it expense? Sales is an income. So, we cannot tell it as expense. Next transaction, credit purchase 4,000. Credit purchase 4,000. Is it an expense? It is an expense because credit purchase, for credit purchase you will pay in future. Okay, you will pay in future and you will pay it in future. So, credit purchase is an expense. You have not purchased free from any public. You purchase on credit and it will be paid in future. So, credit purchase is an expense. Next, salary paid to Akib. Is it an expense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is an expense. Very fine response from you, boys. Salary paid to Akib, that is an expense because that is paid and paid forever. And salary due 2,000, that is also an expense. Cash sales and sales through check 2,400. Is it an expense or income?
Income.
Is it? It is an income. Okay. It is an income. So, credit sales is an income. Cash drawing from bank. By this transaction, cash will increase and bank balance will decrease. Is there any expense? No expense. Stapler purchase 2,000. Staplers will be used for a long period of time. So, that is known as office equipment. So, that is not an expense. Okay? Stapler purchase. Stapler is known as office equipment and that will be used for a long period of time. That is not an expense. Depreciation on furniture recorded 1,000. Depreciation is reduction of value of asset, which is an expense. So, now we can see the answer of A, expense. Answer of A, expense. We can see. Are you seeing, boys? And also you can write down expenses are as follows: goods brought in 9,500, goods brought in 9,500, that is an expense. Credit purchase 4,000, that is an expense. Salary paid to Akib 6,000, that is an expense. Okay. Have you any question from A? From answer of A? Have you any question? And salary due, though it is due, it will be paid in future. Okay? Though it is due, it will be paid in future. As a result, salary due is also an expense. Depreciation on furniture recorded. Depreciation is the reduction of value of asset, that is an expense. Now we are going for answer of B. Answer of B, where you have been asked to ascertain debit and credit. Do you remember the formula of debit and credit? Do you remember the formula of debit and credit? Do you remember the formula of ascertaining debit and credit? If the formula we are discussing again, okay. If any asset increase, asset is debit. If any asset decrease, then asset is credit. For any asset increase, asset is debited, and for any asset decrease, asset is credited. For any expense, for rent paid, salary paid, purchase, salary account is debited, rent account is debited. If any increase in expense, that is debited, and in any decrease in expense, that is credited. On the reverse hand, if any income is received, then income is credited. Okay. If any liability increase, liability is credited, and if any liability decrease, liability is debited. For owner's equity increase, owner's equity increase and capital increase is all the same. As a result, capital is credited. For any amount brought in business as capital, owner's equity is increased. Okay? Owner's equity increase. As a result, capital is credited. Now, in B, you have been asked to ascertain debit and credit. Cash brought in 90,000 and goods brought in 9,500 as capital. Cash account will increase. As a result, cash account debit. Purchase account is debited for goods brought in, that is an expense. If any expense increase, purchase account is debit, and both of two is known as capital. Capital is credited. In the examination, when you will be asked to ascertain debit and credit, then you will write this way, which I am showing now. at PowerPoint. Okay. Cash sales and sales by check 4,000. Cash will increase, as a result cash account will be debited. Bank balance will increase, bank account will be debited, and sales is an income, as a result sales is credited. And write down the process of writing answer of B. For credit purchase account is debited because that is an expense. Okay, because that is an expense, as a result purchase account is debited. Purchase account is debited. And since it is a credit purchase, what will be your effect? Credit purchase, your creditors will be increased. Okay, creditors will be increased, as a result you will write this way: purchase account debit for expense, and for creditors, since creditors will be increased, creditors account will be credited. Next, salary paid to Akib. Salary paid to Akib, that is an expense. Expense, that is an expense, as a result salary account debit and cash will decrease. As a result cash account will be credited. Okay. Next transaction, salary due 2,000. Here salary account will be debit and salary due account will be credit. Salary is not paid yet, it will be paid in future. As a result, will you credit cash account? That will be paid in future. Okay. As a result, we will write salary account debit and due salary account credit. Salary account debit and due salary account credit. Any question from B? Answer of B, boys? Have you any question from answer of B? Ask me question if you have. Okay. What is your question?
Sir, can I write accounting this way, sir?
You should write full spelling, ACCOUNT, account. Okay. Next question. Any question from B, boys? So you will write this way when you will be asked to ascertain debit and credit. This is not a format of journal which will be discussed at your chapter 6. Okay, we have not started chapter 6. In the question, if you would ask to ascertain debit and credit, then you will write this way. In number C, you have been asked to prove A equals L plus E. A equals L plus E. In number C, you have been asked to prove A equals L plus E. This way we will prepare a statement and think about the columns, boys. One column is cash, other column is bank, and others column is used for the data which will not be included in cash and bank account, bank column. Okay, and at L plus E side or right side, creditors is a column, others is a column, owner's equity is a column. We have been asked to prove A equals L plus E considering transactions from 28th to 23rd. Okay. We have been asked to prove from the transactions from 28th June to 23rd June. So, you will consider only those transactions. For June 20, what was the transaction? For June 20, we see cash sales 15,000 and sales by check 2,400. Total sales is 17,000. Total sales 17,000. Total sales is how much? 17,400, that is income. As a result, owner's equity will increase. Is it correct? Owner's equity will increase. Okay? And cash balance will increase. And since sales was done by check, bank balance will increase by 2,400. After this transaction, what will be the balance? What will be the balance, boys? Cash 15,000, bank balance 2,400 and owner's equity 17,000. Owner's equity is 17,400. That will be next for June 21st, cash drawings from bank. For June 21st, the transaction was cash drawings from bank. As a result, cash balance will be increased and bank balance will be decreased. There is no impact on owner's equity, mind it. For cash drawings from bank, cash balance will increase and bank balance will be decreased. There is no impact on owner's equity by this transaction. As a result, balance 15,000 plus 4,000, cash balance will be 19,000. Bank balance 2,400 minus 4,000, now it will be minus 1,600. Owner's equity will be all the same, 17,400. For step-loss purchase of 22nd June, cash account will be decreased and office equipment will increase. Okay. This way we will go forward in future. Boys, have you any question from today's lecture? Have you any question from today's lecture, boys? Okay, thank you. See you again on next class.